Halftime show. Terry Ford, happy I'll be hanging out with you on a Friday. Jay Phillips, will get him in here in a second. I can't hear him anyway. I don't have my headphones pushed in yet. Kale's here to make sure we stay on the air, punch the buttons up for us.
Trying my best,
Friday,
man. Trying my best.
Officially introducing the new assistant coaches. Let's get Jay Phillips in here. Hey, bub.
How are you?
Yeah, I am fantastic.
It's a big day, and we talked about it a lot yesterday. These are great hires. Now they're official. I just threw out on Twitter a little bit before the show. I think Shane, that maybe the biggest point I took, Terry, is that these guys had choices. It isn't like Kendall Briles is some unknown commodity. He's not somebody you had to go digging under a rock to find out about what his resume and track record were all about. He's a guy who's going to be a head coach at some point in college football here in the not-too-distant future. And I think, to Shane's point, they had choices, and they chose Carolina. The cynics out there might say they chose Carolina because Carolina's going to pay him a lot of money. Well, there's a lot of people that could pay him a lot of money. So I think they're intrigued by the idea of what Carolina offers, the SEC offers. In the case maybe of Kendall Briles, there's the hope at least today, Terry, if you kind of hear what he says, he feels real good about a conversation he's had with Lenoris and that Lenoris will be back. We don't know that yet. Mm-hmm. I think you and I have been saying a bunch that Lenoris has a lot of listening to do, a lot of thinking to do, a lot of considering to do, because I do believe, like you, there are still going to be at least a dozen or more NFL clubs that see him as a first-round pick, and won't be pleased if they, look ahead a couple of years and say, man, we had a chance to get that guy. So, who knows right now? But all in all, again, I think really good hires for Carolina. We'll see the proof next year. And speaking of next year, we know the schedule too. So. Mm-hmm. There's that part of today's equation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And with the presser, first of all, it was a lot shorter than I thought it would be. I was like, wow, this is over? Okay. Usually those go a lot longer. That was number one. But, number two, you're hearing what Kendall Briles said, and he said it before when we found that coaching clinic audio of his. They asked him about, the quarterback in his offense. And he said, no, our offense will be built around the quarterback. Yeah. And you saw that at TCU with Josh Hoover. You saw that at Arkansas with KJ Jefferson. Different types of offense within the same system or scheme because two different types of quarterbacks, right? And, with Lenoris, look, I think it'd be fun to watch Lenoris Sellers run a Kendall Briles offense myself. I think that would be a good time. But here's the thing, though. And you and I have had this conversation about Lenoris over and over. I'm with you. I think if Lenoris Sellers gets intel that a decent amount of teams are looking at him as a first-round pick and would take him in the first round if he's on the board, or if he gets the intel from the NFL, he is going to be a surefire first-round pick. He goes. If he gets intel that's sketchy, Jay, well, you're a borderline first-rounder, well, you know what I mean? The kind of maybe sort of kind of whatever. Maybe he says, you know what, I'm going to come back, I'm going to gamble on myself to have a great year in this new offense to up my draft stock. I truly think it's the intel he gets from the league. I still believe that he'll go and be a first-round pick. But if he comes back, I think it's because the intel he got didn't sit well with him and his folks and his people, if that makes any sense.
It does, and I'll give you – I won't say this is an apples-to-apples comparison, but just this morning, Shaquille O'Neal was on Dan Patrick, and Shaq – Dan said to Shaq, hey, in today's world, you'd be a one-and-done, but back then you played 3 years. And Shaq interrupted him, Terry, and said, no, Dan, let me tell you something. I'd have stayed, and here's why. 2 reasons. 1, NIL. I can get paid. Mm-hmm. And 2, my education mattered because, as you know, Terry, and I'm just talking directly now about Shaq, we know what kind of business person Shaq has become. Yeah. He's a brilliant marketer, and the way Shaq conducts his business, he's not a paid endorser. He gets ownership stakes in these businesses, most of them. So his point was, nah, man, take advantage of a good education, take advantage of NIL. So I don't mean to compare what Lenoris may become with what Shaq has become. But what I'm saying is, to your point, maybe, hey, if all things are equal, and I'm not really sure right now, I'm going to get paid at South Carolina. I mean, chances are pretty good next year that Lenoris Sellers makes in the $3 to $5 million range to play college football again, whether it's at Carolina or somewhere else. And by all accounts, it'll be at Carolina if he plays college football. So the point I make is that's why I said there's consideration there beyond just the gambling on being a first-round pick. And we'll know these things in a few weeks' time. And in a lot of ways, the transfer portal closes as the deadline approaches to declare for the draft. So we'll know these things soon enough.
I think with the one thing now that kind of changes a little bit of the dynamic. I don't think it changes everything. I think, again, if half the league says we would take you, he's going to go. But
I think you have to.
Yes,
I just think you have to. Yeah,
and again,
that's be a first round pick.
Right. I mean,
you need to go be a first round pick.
Right, and you be a first round pick, and you're also going to get a 5-year guaranteed rookie deal. That's not an NIL deal. That's guaranteed rookie money.
It's going to change generations in your life.
But the one thing now that South Carolina has to offer that it didn't was Kendall Briles. Let's just be real here. He's going to run an offense that's going to fit his skill set. He now can have a belief that maybe the offensive line won't get him killed. And so now, coming back to South Carolina has more of a positive spin on it than it did 2 weeks ago, right? It just does. I had a guy ask me at the gym today, because I'm powerlifting for my competition this weekend. And
how's that going, by the way?
By the way, I was going to try to keep doing that with a straight face, see if somebody would actually believe me. But and a guy said to me, he goes, you think...
So wait, you are lying?
Yeah, I'm in the skinny, weak, anorexic powerlifter competition.
Oh, my God, he's pulling his arms off.
I believe you, Terry. I believe you.
See, Kale knows how to suck up. That's why I love him, and he's still here. Anyway, and he asked me about Lenoris. Would he transfer to another school? I said, now, a month ago, that was a bigger possibility. I still thought it was a number 3 option out of the 3. But I said, now, if he's coming back to school, I really believe it would be South Carolina because of this offense that Kendall Briles is going to run. And it's going to be very, very quarterback-friendly and very Lenoris Sellers-friendly. And the offensive line has got to change. That whole dynamic's different with this offense. And Lenoris knows there's weapons in this offense. He knows. So now that dynamic all of a sudden has more of a positive shine on it than it did 2 or 3 weeks ago. The idea of, well, if I don't like exactly what I hear from the league, hell, I can go back to South Carolina, play in a very quarterback-friendly offense. It could up my draft stock. I'm staying another year at school. It's near my home. I'm going to throw footballs to my brother. I got my girl, whatever. Then things can maybe take a better spin because the offense you're going to be in could help you shine and improve your draft stock.
Yeah, and to add to that part of the equation about being at Carolina again next season, Shane and Kendall both discussed today about having conversations with Lenoris. Now, obviously, Shane and Lenoris are already tight, and Shane leaned on Lenoris and the other quarterbacks in the room about this hire, and Shane, in so many words, said in the presser, hey, Lenoris was like, hey, that looks, I'm paraphrasing, Terry, but that looks like a pretty good offense to me. I like that TCU thing. And Kendall said, look, I didn't have a big conversation with him, but it was positive. And, we'll continue to meet and discuss. So, but again, Kendall's like, hey, I feel kind of good about him coming back and playing in our system. So, and to your point, which again, I think is the real seller here, we'll tailor this thing to you, bud. And I can't say, Terry, and nor can you, and, maybe Mike Shula can't either. I'm sorry. I could be dead wrong, man. I could be dead wrong. But I do not believe that the 2025 South Carolina offense was tailored to fit Lenoris Sellers entirely.
I will say this, and you and I'm like you. I don't know 100%, but I know this. What I watched last year did not seem like it was tailored to the quarterback who was running that offense. That's all I'm going to say.
That's just my opinion.
That's
I don't know
me.
what kind of expert I am. I watch a lot of football. I watch a lot of football. I don't feel that way.
Yeah, you didn't see a guy that felt like you watched Lenore's like the last half of the previous season. He looked totally comfortable. He was running that thing. He was doing dynamic stuff. And last year he just looked like he had a wedgie. Remember you get uncomfortable when you get a wedgie?
Yes.
It looked like he had a wedgie for 3 months. Does that sound like it makes sense?
It makes that's a good way to put it, at least. Yes, I like that.
Anyway,
I like that. It makes me uncomfortable, but yes.
I'm feeling like I got a wedgie just talking about it.
But I look, again, Kendall, I think you hit it too, man. I mean, Kendall has proof in his offenses of dual threats relative to pocket passers and having both be very successful.
Yeah, so I do, man. I like this hire. I really do. I like the direction, and good. Look, you give Shane credit. He took, you take a step back. At some point, you got to go, the direction I'm going, I got to change my direction on things. And he did with this. And it's a totally different offense we've seen under Shane Beamer at South Carolina. This thing, again, go watch Arkansas tape of, 20 to 23, I guess, the last couple of years at TCU. But really watch the Arkansas stuff because you got a dual-threat quarterback in KJ Jefferson. That's more of what it could possibly be than what you saw at TCU.
Yep. I agree. I know we'll talk about it a little bit later, but real quick, the schedule's out too, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
And look, they're all hard, so I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh my God, it's brutal." I will say, as I saw it last night, to close with Georgia and Clemson. I remember that. I think I don't have it in front of me, but I think when George Rogers played Georgia in Athens the year he won the Heisman, I think that game was in November. And maybe there's been a couple of other instances, but I cannot in my life recall South Carolina playing Georgia and Clemson in back-to-back weeks, and certainly that would mean to close the season. So that feels daunting. You got to go to Bama. You got to go to Oklahoma. The other two road games, maybe at least next season, feel more manageable, although it's weird to say going to Florida is manageable, but then going to Arkansas late in the season, I don't know where they'll be next year, what they're going to look like. A&M, Tennessee, Kentucky, and State are at home in addition to the two at the beginning of the season that you should win. I'm still bummed about not playing Miami, but I certainly get it when you look at this. You would say, Jay, would you rather play Kent or Miami? Okay, I can look at both of those things, Terry.
Right.
Would I still rather see Miami on the schedule?
I know, man. I know.
I would.
I know.
But I get it.
Looking at this thing, I mean, you go to the open date on October 17th, and you come back with Tennessee at home, who an 8-win team. You go to Oklahoma in the college football playoff, Texas A&M in the college football playoff. That, again, like you said, Arkansas in year one of the new regime. Maybe that's a manageable one. Then you end up with Georgia in the college football playoff. Then you got to go upstate to Clemson. It feels like you got to stack some stuff before that open date, Jay, to get yourself a little runway.
Yeah, I feel like. Whew, man, you better be. What's that? You better be 5-1.
Yeah, no worse. No worse than 4-2, sir. No worse than 4-2, but 5-1 would be very nice to take yourself into the back end of that thing.
5-1. If Lenore, even if Lenore's isn't, but I feel like 5-1 is manageable. I don't know what Florida's going to be.
I don't either.
Got talent. They weren't coached well, so we'll see.
No, we'll see.
We'll get Langston's take, right?
Yeah, let's talk to Langston more. Why not? Let's do that next. All right. Post-game show, Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Kale's here. Langston Moore going to talk some football with us, the former Gamecock. That's next here on the post-game show on your Friday on the game.
All right, y'all. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Hey, Kale.
Postgame show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, get Langston Moore here in just a second. Talk some football with Langston. All right, Jay, so we're talking about the schedule.
Wait, we're talking football with Langston? No,
Well-
no. I thought we were talking food today and Christmas
Ooh,
gifts.
even better. Forget the football stuff. Good point.
Yeah.
You know what? We should do everything we can not to talk football with Langston. And he tries to bring it up, we'll just change the subject. He'll go, man, this weekend.
The thing is, he's a lot like us. I think he'd be fine with a
He would
departure
enjoy
from
it.
football.
Yeah, we should do that, though, sometime, just for fun. Get someone who's football, and let's just talk everything but football. And every time they try to talk football, we'll change the subject.
Okay.
Just for fun.
Why don't we try to invite the head coach on and then see what happens if we do?
And talk no football with Beamer. No, the listener would kill us.
They probably would.
Yes, the listener would not be. Shane would enjoy it.
Just ask him his favorite color.
We could do all sorts of stuff. We could have. What was that dumb Barbara Walters one back in the day? If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Remember that one?
I do. Yeah, that's that feels like more of a Sigmund Freud question. Anyway, where were we?
Oh, let's get Langston Moore the hell on here. Hey, bud, what are you doing?
Those all sound like combine questions to me. Would you rather be a dog? Would you rather be a dog? Would you rather be a fish? Would you rather be a cat?
All right, right now, tell me the dumbest combine question you got.
The dumbest combine question. It was rapid fire. The Cleveland Browns. They had the whole entire staff in there. Dave Campo, I remember him.
Oh God, Campo.
Very smaller in person than I thought. He didn't look as big without all the Dallas stuff. I guess immediately you lose a whole bunch of size when you go from wearing like the Dallas stuff to the Cleveland Browns. I'm trying to think. They had a trial lawyer interview me. That was the interview process, and it was just like for rapid fire for 5 minutes. And I don't know who this dude was. I don't know if he's the DA or whatever for the city of Cleveland. But they tried to get you off your cue for sure. They tried to ask you a whole bunch of crazy questions, to say the least, for sure.
I'm trying to figure out what they think that helps. I mean, I suppose you got to be, no pun intended, quick on your feet or whatever. But Langston, do you think it's like a decision-making thing?
I think it's kind of like we're going old school. We're all going to come into the family room and sit down, and the whole entire family's going to meet. Jay Phillips, when you want to come and talk to my daughter and see, because I heard a lot about you around town. I see you up there at the soda pop shop. And I think it's similar to something like that. I mean, obviously they got a whole bunch of information, what they heard from the regional scouts. There's only so many people that you can get interviewed from and get interviewed to from the team's standpoint when you're at the combine. So, you can't just be in there talking to everybody. And it's lightning round. I think it's like 15 minutes. And so you get about 5 minutes for like pleasantries, and then, the rest is getting down to it. Or, if you're a quarterback or defensive lineman, punter, I don't even know if punters get invited into those things, but it's a real quick process, and I think they're just trying to figure out and trying to kick the tires and trying to see if they're trying to commit, because you've heard certain things. Now there are, and they have been those rumors, and all you got to do is use your Googles, and there have been some teams that have tried to goat certain dudes and ask them some extremely crazy questions that you would never get asked. Yeah, you would never get asked in this on Indeed or wherever it is you put out your resume or whatever you do those things.
I will say this, guys. I'm not going to lie. If Jeff Ireland, it was the Dolphins GM at the time, Jeff Ireland, who asked that question to Des Bryant, if I was like that age and you said that to me about my mom, they'll be pulling a chair out of your lower body
for
parts.
Those who don't remember or don't know, basically he was asked if his mother was a professional at certain things that are not.
Yeah.
And so
usually
to be right on the stereotype. Right. Going way back to the Bible. Des Bryant, I mean, he should have, he held his composure. I mean, just heard rumors, but, I would have lived up to the stereotypes if that was the case.
Same here. Hey, Langston, same here, brother. Hey, you want some of this? Right? Okay. All right.
Oh, where can I be crazy at, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. You want this? Okay. Here you go.
But yeah, I think it all comes down to like trying to kick the tires. So again, I don't know if you want to commit a first round pick and everything that goes with that, or our draft pick period, whatever goes with that. I don't know if the answer to if you rather be a house cat or a house dog or a dog or something like that. All of those different things. I mean, I think it all comes down to creativity as well and knowing exactly what you want. When I went and sat down with Rod Marinelli when he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I knew exactly what was going on in that room from those questions. From a man up there, defensive line coach John Randall for the Minnesota Vikings. He was up there with the Colts at the time. He asked me, he knew exactly what he wanted, and so I think it's very apropos that the Cleveland Browns had a DA attorney moonlighting at the combine as their interview process. So they knew what they wanted too. So all very interesting, man. All very interesting.
And back then it was the credit card guy, Lerner, that owned the Browns. So he probably had a whole different vision for what business was, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Langston, let's jump into today and yesterday, really this week with these new hires. First off, just especially let's start with Kendall Briles and your overall take on what you think this is and does for Carolina football.
Oh, it gives it, an immediate, fingerprint, thumbprint, an identity of what, an offense and a Kendall Brown's offense is going to look like, because there's plenty of successes and stories, and I mean, just like I said, you always put it underneath the PlayStation college football test. Anytime somebody gets that playbook, it's kind of like the Tennessee playbook where you're splitting you out wide, doing all the different things to manipulate the box, and then when you get a runner in that situation and get it downhill, so it doesn't surprise me that the first person he kind of brought along with him or that had to come along in the package was Coach Clement, the offensive line coach that he's been with or has been with him since he's been since a young lad. So again, they see things a lot the same way. But I think the biggest thing is going to give him some identity and then what's going to be kind of the tools in the toolbox for them to play with. And so I think that's the next biggest thing. And obviously that's why there was expediency on trying to figure out what this offensive coordinator search is going to be like, not only for the signing class that we just had. We don't have to go into the whole deal with Landon and all those things with Ole Miss and the last little bit, or LSU. I'm sorry, still get my Lane Kiffins mixed up. But I think it does put an identity on what it is and kind of the expectation. But again, the next question is, can we get all the tools that we want to play with to come back so we can see what it really looks like with all the things, everybody looking at 100% with this new shiny identity that we'll have to get right this whole spring with.
All right, Langston Moore hanging out with us, talking some football. We'll come back in here, discuss more about the new staff, maybe look at also the guys who are leaving to go to the NFL. We got that coming up next with our buddy Langston. It is the post-game show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Langston Moore, Kale's here till 6 on the game. Kreger Showrooms, formerly The Nest, 1331 Gadsden Street in the Vista. Again, if you are looking to do some things in your home, whether it's new appliances, Bosch appliances, I'm telling you, cook like a Bosch. Absolutely, the finest in appliances. New refrigerator, new garbage disposal, stoves, ovens, whatever you're looking for, microwaves, it's there at The Nest. You can redo your bathroom. How about a tub? How cool is a tub? Fixtures, lighting, plumbing, whatever you're looking for is available at The Nest or at Kreger Showrooms, formerly The Nest, I'm sorry. And the showroom is fantastic. You walk around, you take a look, you'll find what you're looking for. It'll be done within your budget. By the way, 100 years of experience at Kreger Showrooms to help you find what you're looking for and to guide you in the process. 803-978-2025, 803-978-2025. Make that call, set up an appointment, Kreger Showrooms. Check it out. Jay and I yapping with our buddy Langston Moore here on the Postgame Show. We'll get you some sound from today's presser. Shane Beamer introducing the new assistant coaches, led by, of course, offensive coordinator Kendall Briles. Hey, real quick, Langston, I want to talk to you about the offensive line coach. I think it's quite interesting that Coach Clements comes with Kendall Briles from TC, where he's the assistant offensive line coach. He's been with Briles. I think they started hanging out in elementary school. And he's known this dude forever. And this guy knows what offensive linemen need to do in this offense. I thought it was kind of interesting that the offensive line coach comes along with him to be the new O-line coach.
Yeah, it's a kind of an odd dynamic. And again, so, obviously we got, Sean, who's been here for, a couple different iterations, and, Carolina owes him a good debt of gratitude for done bunch of different times when, obviously, with Coach Spurrier transitioning out different things, but, figuring out a way to keep him into the fold, I think, is obviously a benefit to, him not just being a South Carolina guy, but just the ties and him being a good coach. And, there's plenty of places that will probably want his services as well. But when you bring in the new offensive coordinator, and that's why the whole deal with, the in-season change is kind of rough and kind of tough, because, you want these things to kind of all look, kind of like you want it to all align up like the stars. You want my offensive line guy to be looking, protection-wise. I don't have to think about that, especially, if we've been doing this for a long time. I don't have to think about, coach, if they have a boundary safety, we got to pop out and take it. I know my guy is kind of seeing the field the same way, and in turn, he's telling his offensive lineman to kind of see the same thing. And, again, it just is a whole trickle-down effect. So it doesn't really strike me as odd. I think it's, obviously a great thing that they all came together, and that it wasn't something that it was going to be, we got somebody in the works, blah, 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 one of those deals. But, just from the whole pedigree, he is a offensive line dude. I mean, he, all the way back to, days when the older Briles, I think, hired him to work, and obviously he was with Kendall when he was a high school, with a high school kid, but a college kid as well. But the biggest thing I like was that he used to be a shrimp coach. He's an old school kind of, real down and dirty offensive line kind of dude, and you see it in just the cut of his whole jib. So I'm really interested to see kind of the whole tone and tenor of how he coaches the guys, and of course how these guys respond. And obviously there's a track record for the success that he's had at the different places that he's been in conjunction with Coach Briles.
All right, Langston, let's do one of Terry's favorite exercises. I'm going to steal this from him, and I'm going to make you Kendall Briles right now, and you're on the phone or across the desk from Lenora Sellers in the next week or two. What's your biggest pitch to keep him from wanting to go be an NFLer right away?
Well, you show him what happened. You don't have to show him what happened, because I'm sure it's very fresh in his mind and his mouth. It's only been a couple, a month or so away since everything, the season wrapped up. But you just sell the future of what could be, and the success and what I could make you as far as the development as a passer, the developer, and within this offense. But just the success, and should be salivating that, just. When I think of a Briles offense, the speed, just the deadliness, and Robert Griffin and all the things associated with the Briles last name, that you just got to be salivating. Like, if I get a light box, I can do some of the things that I used to do in high school, whether it's run or throw, and then we do it with some timing it up with some of these running backs and figuring out a plan with that, because we have shown success to bust really big runs. And LSU, we've had big striking runs. So again, adding more of that into the offense, it just makes it more fun, and that's the best thing for Lenora Sellers as a quarterback. So, showing him that the development of what I can make you as a passer, but the fun we're going to have in this offense, and on top of this, we can win and leave, again, a legacy of, to be a dude, to do some things that are really special, because we do have a lot of the pieces, but it's just going to take this thing that's called trust, and that's one of the biggest things. Everybody's out here, and that's where all strong programs come, and that's the thing that Coach Holtz used to preach all the time: trust, care, commitment. So you better figure out a way to get Lenora Sellers 16 to trust you very quickly and trust your vision and your idea, because obviously you're committed to be here. Hopefully you'll show him you're committed to be here as you coach him up through the season and off season.
All right, now I'll let you be. Now you're not going to be Kendall Briles. Now I'm going to make you Shane Beamer.
Okay.
Look at you go. Now you're Shane Beamer.
All right. Look at me.
You go. So, all right, let's say Lenora Sellers does go to the league.
Okay.
Now you got Cutter Woods. You got Aaron Nolan, two guys who have started as many games as Jay Phillips and Terry Ford at quarterback. Are you going to go to Kendall Browse and say, what do you think of these two? Or do you go to Kendall Browse and say, I think we got to get a vet in the portal. These two guys could still beat him out. We got to go get a veteran because, hey, Kendall, I went 4-8 last year, dude. I don't know if I can roll with these two guys to start a year. Neither one's proven.
Well, I think you'd be foolish if you don't use the portal. Look at the NFL right now. Do you want to be sitting there and try to figure out how to find the a la Phillip Rivers version of that for the if you lose your two quarterbacks? It wouldn't. Let me tell you, the version wouldn't be Phillip Rivers. It would be some dude who you've never heard of. He won the 1A state championship. No disrespect to 1A state championship winners, but they what's the team down in Bluffton that I heard they're putting up like 500 some yards. But they had a kid like that who walked on. That would be the iteration of that, and I think it would be foolish, regardless if we have Lenore's. I mean, we would have some guys in our deal that we wouldn't have to look for that, and we could develop them. Obviously, starting to get them into the Browse system. So again, there's an easy transition. There's a bunch of obviously upside and talent that we've seen from Cutter Woods and Aaron Nolan. Of course, you got your own nickname already. You haven't played. That always says a lot about you. But you hadn't played this year when there was opportunity, so that also says something about you as well. So we got to figure out where you stand with this whole deal. But I think you got to use NIL, not NIL, but the transfer portal to supplement a lot of the spots. So, I mean, you always want to find another good quarterback, just like in the NFL. You're always trying to figure out. I mean, Davis Mills is probably the Houston Texans and Davis Mills. They've probably been the most targeted team in the last couple months because of everybody's looking for a stable backup to trade or get something just in case something like happens. Or you can end up being like the Minnesota Vikings and playing with a really 6-7 round draft pick out there, and you saw what that happened. Shout out to our guy who took the pick back to the house. But the whole deal, I think, is whether or not. No, I'll say this: if Lenore's leaves, we got to go get somebody definitely in the portal, and again, just again for numbers, for safety, for experience, and again, Shane has been shown to do that all the way back to his first season here. But if Lenore stays, I think the room is full enough, and there's some guys, of course, second year with Cutter Woods, Aaron Nolan being in here, second year being in the program, not in the system, because everybody will be learning it for the first time. I think that we can hold off on that a little bit.
Langston, I know it hadn't been part of this week's festivities around Carolina football, but there was a little bit of at least for Clayton White maybe being on Tennessee's radar. So I just got to ask you, as a defensive guy too, that whole defensive staff is going to be back. Carolina put that out in the release. So in addition to adding these new very important offensive pieces, in your mind, how crucial was it to make sure that Clayton and his guys remain happy and comfortable here in Columbia?
You call me Langston, right? Not Shane. I'm not playing Shane Rose.
Yeah, now you're just Langston. Now you're just Langston.
I'm breathing a big sigh of relief because I don't want to do
Shane in that too. You can be both. You can play both.
Can I play Shane on payday? I just want to play Shane on payday. I don't want to play Shane on decision day. No, thank you. I jokingly say that just because having to make if it warranted. I mean, that says that's always one of my tales of the test of your staff. How many people are trying to actually get your guy to come off your staff to not only be there, but maybe ascend to a different position, head coach, coordinator at a different school, obviously Tennessee and all those things. I mean, it rings out. It says, says what it says with the brand. But, having to do two hires like this majorly, thank goodness we don't have to. And plus we get the continuity of keeping our guy. Just the only thing with Clayton, I would just the staff just a little bit and find maybe just one more guy because I know Clayton kind of is the guy who has the moniker of being a linebackers coach, but I like us to see a little bit more so we can have somebody who works with these guys full on, full off, and let Clayton be the mastermind of the X's and O's and all the other things that go along with masterminding the defense that is, like I said, going back to 2 seasons ago when he made the switch to that 3-3-5 and was figuring out different creative ways to play his brand of defense and figuring out different ways to be creative. Like I've been a Clayton White fan, not just because I played in that crazy defense, but his willingness to be creative and do what it takes scheme-wise and get his players to learn these things and buy into these things speaks volumes a lot there. So very happy that Clayton White's coming back. I just like to see us add maybe one more piece, couple more pieces to our staff just so we have a few more teachers in the room.
All right. Yeah. We got to get to this before we let you go. Joe Burrow this week, speaking to the media, talking about he wants to have fun again. He wants to enjoy the game again. Is Joe Burrow sending out signals? I want to get the hell out of Cincinnati. I've had enough of this place.
Yeah, it's all cool when you stay home and you play. Like again, Joe, you knew what this was. You knew what Ohio weather was like. You knew. You think having a Lamborghini and eating chili in a Lamborghini was going to make it any different? And it's a purple LSU. No, there's a reason why things didn't work out at Ohio State, and you went down to Baton Rouge and you had yourself a good time. Now, I'm not telling you to go down and play for the Saints or nothing crazy like that. You're trying to be Langston Moore and go from one terrible franchise to the next terrible franchise. But there's no with Joe Burrow. Let me tell you something. The Cincinnati Bengals are inclined to do one thing, to not spend money. And they spent money on Joe Burrow so much that they took my daddy's name off the side of that stadium and put some Paycor or some they gave some naming rights up so they could pay Joe, because you can't play around with the money and just future bidding. You got to put it in escrow somewhere like that for somebody like Joe Burrow with these big contracts. So the point is, Joe ain't going nowhere. You want us to ship you in some sand? You want some boudin shipped in? What you want? What you want? I'm just telling you. I played in Cincinnati. There was enough complaints about not having Chick-fil-A, and somehow, some way, Chick-fil-A showed up 30 miles away outside the city limits of Cincinnati, and we got that Chick-fil-A every year after that. So I don't know. Things happen.
Totally appreciate you, my man. Thanks. And again, Langston's official, man. His official, give it to him. Come on, Jay. You do it better than anybody.
Real fast. Former Gamecock defensive lineman, team captain, draft pick, the Cincinnati Bengals, husband, father, softball aficionado, barbecue expert, children's book author, public speaker, and all-around man about town.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all
Right.
be safe.
Thanks, man.
Okay, we'll.
Don't forget, go to athletesandartists.net for all the Just a Chicken stuff. Athletesandartists.net. Check it out.
Little J or Nay coming up, and at 4:15, the Wild Card Showdown on the post-game show on a Friday on the game. Get a little J or nay in here real quick. Or Jay Phillips. Langston Moore taking off on us. We got to do a J or nay with Langston one day.
What would you call that?
I don't know. Langston or nay just has no ring to it.
Yeah. Well, Elijah came up with J or nay, so just Elijah has that creativity in him.
What was the one that Preston came up with? J, nay, or?
Oh man, did you not write that down?
Maybe. I can't remember.
J, nay, or no way?
I can't remember what that was now. It was good, though. Man, it was good.
Dang it, we didn't write it down.
I know we didn't.
Just get Coach P to.
Yeah, he'll remember it. I'll have him text it to me. Maybe he did. I'll have to look. Anyway, a little J or nay today. We will start off.
He did text you that. I think he did text.
I think it's in my text. I have to dig it up.
Scroll through and find it.
Yeah, I have to find it. All right, J or nay today.
Well, wait. Kale hadn't played the.
Oh, Kale, get us some theme show. Give us some game show music, Kale.
Let's go.
You guys are giving me so much pressure.
Yeah.
Kale's got his hat on backwards again, and he's not playing the music.
He's just not paying it. You know, he's too busy. He's too busy scrolling on that TikTok. Yeah, grab us a little music.
Don't even use TikTok.
There you go. Grab us a little theme show. A little theme music here. Okay. Well, no, that wasn't the one to use. Go to another one. Yeah. And you got to, that's going to be on 2 or 3. You got to turn up 3. There you go.
Hey, look at that.
Look at us go. All right. J or nay, we're gonna focus on a little basketball real quick. The Gamecock men's basketball team.
Okay.
J or nay, the Gamecocks will finish 500 this year.
As I see them play in the interior and defensively right now, I'm gonna probably say nay.
Oh. J or nay?
I mean, that's going to be tough.
I tell you,
the SEC is a bear.
Yeah, it is.
You know, look, they've taken a couple of they played 3 Power 5 teams, or at least whatever you call them these days. You know, major conference teams in basketball, and I mean, pushed 2 of them to the brink, but they didn't win either of them. And then Butler kind of had you at the end. Yeah. They need to get better in the interior, man.
Yeah, on offense and defense, they got to get better in the interior. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, J or nay, Michi Johnson will lead the team in scoring.
J.
J or nay.
Butler's coming around with some scoring, but I think it'll be Michi.
Yeah. J or nay, Eli Ellis will be a starter by the end of the season.
Whew, wow. I wouldn't know where, so I'm going to say nay. I'm going to say he still comes off the bench. I mean, he's either got to be a 1 or a 2. I don't know. I think he's better off the bench, Terry.
All right, good deal. J or nay, Michi Johnson might end up being the leading scorer, but the best all-around offensive player on the team is Mongolian Mike.
Jay, I do like his versatility. I wish, and I think Derek told us this, I wish for a guy who was that tall, he maybe had more of a presence down low, but that's okay because today's basketball, doesn't always lend itself to that anymore. When you got guys that are that big outside, it's harder to guard them from there. But yeah, so far, I think that's a J. I think he is. Yeah.
You know what? I'd like to see him get a little more aggressive, take a few more shots. I think sometimes he just kind of disappears a bit, and then all of a sudden, for like a 4-minute stretch, he scores like 3 or 4 buckets. And you're like, where you been, man?
Yeah.
But
I mean, to go back to your first question about 500, look, you're 6-3 right now. You got the Citadel this weekend. You still got Clemson to play, and you got a couple other games that you should win before conference play starts. But 18 conference games, Terry.
I know, man.
To finish 500, you're still looking at having to go about what, like 7-11 or something?
Yeah, it's going to be a bear, man. They got to get, but they have to get better on the interior, both ends of the court. All right, Don't forget 4:15 Wild Card Showdown coming up.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 of the postgame show rolling along. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Cale Wilson at Master Control. We'll play the Wild Card Showdown shortly. Elijah Campbell will be back in studio with us. Thanks, as always, to Langston Moore for joining us in the first hour, as he does on Fridays. Not an official Football Friday anymore, but it is still. And our Wild Card Showdown will be mostly NFL. We do have the Army-Navy game. And then next week we get the playoffs to discuss, which I'm excited about. I wish there were more home games in the playoffs. We'll get the home games next week, but I'd like to see them go to 16. I'd like to see them have more home games throughout the entire run of this thing. God bless you, bowl games, but
We do have a bowl game this weekend, Jay.
Yeah, which one is it? I saw that early.
I think it's the L.A. Bowl, but Washington plays Boise.
Hang on, let me look.
And then I know and then obviously the FCS playoffs are still going on, and then some people will probably be interested in this. Newberry plays in the D2 semifinals.
No, that's a big deal.
Yeah, they're the last team in that's not a number 1 seed.
SC State is playing tomorrow. We do need to mention that. I have that on my notes. They're playing Prairie View over in Atlanta. That's at noon tomorrow.
That's the HBCU national title game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, basically, sort of, yeah. I mean, I think it's sort of a de facto kind of thing, but the Celebration Bowl, which State, I believe, has won in the past. The Bucked Up L.A. Bowl is tomorrow.
Okay.
I have no idea what that means.
I remember when it used to be the Jimmy Kimmel L.A. Bowl. I think that only lasted for a year.
I assume that Bucked Up, that's with a B.
Oh, that's a workout supplement.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. That's Boise and Washington. It's an intriguing matchup, I suppose. Maybe I should have put that one in there. I did. It's too late now. I'm not going to change it. And maybe Jed Fish coaches Washington tomorrow, and then next week is the Michigan coach. He's certainly one of the front runners for that gig.
Okay.
So we'll see. And then we don't have a bowl game again until Tuesday. So we'll worry about that next week. Yeah. I watch most of these.
I'm probably going to the Myrtle Beach Bowl next Friday. I always go to that. That's exciting.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing says Myrtle Beach like Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan. I'll tell you that much.
This is probably the best.
And it's at 11 o'clock in the morning. My God, it's going to be cold, man.
Yeah, I go every year just because it's an opportunity to see some teams that I don't normally get to see play. I mean, because besides this, when am I going to get to see Western Michigan play? Because let's be honest, they're not going to come and play Carolina.
Can I ask you, Cale, has seeing Western Michigan been on your college football bucket list?
It's on mine.
At your young age?
It's on mine.
So you know how big of a college football guru I am with the with the social media page I run. So I want to see at least every D1 team play at least once in my life. Every FBS
that's fair.
team.
I give you that. That's noble. I give you that.
Plus,
I give you that.
a couple years.
And going over to that stadium, the Teal Field. By the way, if you didn't hear, speaking of Coastal, they've hired Ryan Beard from Missouri State.
That was a good hire.
I like that hire.
He's got a really good track record as an assistant at some big schools, and he's been a good head coach at Missouri State.
They put that program on the map. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, leading them up from FCS. Not you might look at the overall record and go, but when you transition, there's going to be some bumps along the way. But good for them. That's a solid hire.
You know what's funny, Jay? Cale has this great idea. It is to see every school until you realize, well, I got to go to Akron and Texas El Paso.
Dude, I wouldn't mind.
Well, clearly,
that.
no. I think clearly he's just going to wait for all those schools to come to the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Yeah, smart man.
If I take a vacation. So one of the things that I love to do is if I take a vacation anywhere and there's like a D1 college near there, I want to, while I'm there, I want to take a trip to the stadium.
Cale, you're not vacationing in Akron.
Yeah.
Akron's not that far from Cleveland.
Cale, have you ever been to Cleveland?
You're not vacationing in Cleveland.
You're not vacationing in Cleveland. Oh, you want to go to Cleveland?
You could spend a day or two.
Is that a bad thing?
You go to the Rock and Roll. You go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You go to a Guardians game.
I'll go to a Browns game.
Here's the thing, Cale. Okay, there's this thing called lake effect.
Is it bad that I don't know what that is?
Well, in the winter, you don't want to worry about it. Let's put it that way.
Anyway, all right. So post-game show, Terry Ford, Jay Phillips, young impressionable Kale, not understanding the world and weather, hanging around here with us.
I was a broadcast major, not a nature major, or a meteorology major, or whatever you call it.
I did 2 years in Youngstown, Ohio. You ask me how many times I've been back to Ohio.
I'm going to say 0.
Exactly. People are nice. I love the people. I'll skip the weather. But anyway. All right, so Jay Phillips, we look at the schedule as it popped yesterday, and we kind of gleamed into it a little bit in the first riff of the show.
Yep.
And look, the team isn't even built yet, to be fair. We're just kind of looking at it now, and we'll revisit it later when we know better. Like, I don't know, who's quarterbacking South Carolina, who's playing the offensive line, who's playing in the secondary, who came back, who didn't, all that stuff, right? But if you look at it in theory, you feel like you should be 3-0 going to Tuscaloosa. That's going to be a tough one. You get Kentucky at home with a first-year head coach who's the complete opposite of the last guy. We don't even know what we're getting there, but you figure Kentucky at home in year one of a new coach.
Will Stein will get him a quarterback, Terry.
Oh, well, I tell you what, how good is the kid he's got now if that kid is put in a better offense? Cutter Bowley, I don't know, but you're right. They will have a quarterback who can sling it, absolutely.
Yeah, but if he doesn't like what he's got on campus now, he'll get one next month.
But you have Kentucky coming here, then you go to Florida in a game like we talked about in year one with a new head coach again. I mean, I know John Sumrall has done some fine things so far in his career at Troy and at Tulane, but still first year at Florida. You get to that open date, that first part of the schedule, I'm not saying you're going to crush it, but it's more manageable than the second half of it after the open date. So hopefully you can gain some ground in those first 5 games to take you into the second part of your schedule.
Yeah, and you're going to have to, I think you and I talked about it this morning, you're going to have to steal a couple. Now, look, it's going to depend on a fan's point of view to determine what theft looks like, all right, in that second half of the schedule. Is Tennessee coming to Columbia one that you're stealing if you beat them? Let's right now it feels like it, but maybe only mildly so. I think going to Oklahoma, if you win in Norman for a second straight time, that would be one. A&M, what is A&M next year relative to this year? Has Mike Elko overachieved this year relative to what we typically see from A&M, or has he reversed course? And is A&M now set up under Coach Elko to consistently win 10 times a year or more? Going to Arkansas, they transition. I have no idea what they'll be like, but I will say this much. By November, has everybody hit their stride? How much harder is that going to be? And then Georgia and Clemson speak for themselves regardless of anything else. So I'm not even going to worry about those two in terms of, now, again, look, if Georgia comes to Columbia and you win, you stole that one.
Yes.
And going to Clemson, look, Shane's won both his games in Clemson.
Yep. So
is that theft? Maybe not. And I have no idea what Clemson's going to be like next year either. But I know that going to Clemson is hard no matter what. So our buddy Pops Frisbee hit us. Let me go back to this, Terry, so I can give Tim his due here on what exactly he said. He says, people are already lamenting the schedule and making excuses. Bottom line, this is his opinion. This is Tim's opinion. Bottom line, Beamer needs to win 7 or 8 games minimum in 26 to be considered to continue on. What do you think?
That's interesting.
I don't know, Tim. Again, I will pose the question that I always do, Terry, and you know what's coming. When you lose, how did you lose? If you're competitive, and look, a lot may still depend, on personnel. Are you bringing Lenoris back? Are you bringing Harbor back? Are you bringing Stewart back? What did you do in the portal to supplement the losses of Kilgore and Cisse? You brought Cisse in last year. That was your best portal guy. Do you do things like that next season to make sure that you're remaining competitive? What does the rest of the league look like? What if Kalen DeBoer leaves Alabama, and is suddenly the Michigan coach? How much does that change? So my point being, and I'm throwing some things out that might be a little more absurd, only to make a point that I don't really know. But yeah, look, if you can be, like you said, Terry, at worst 4-2 at the break, finding 3 wins, unless you win at home. Look, if you win at home over Tennessee and A&M and go to Arkansas, there's your 7. And again, I think Clemson could be considered kind of a toss-up game as we speak. Georgia is not a toss-up. Oklahoma is not a toss-up. Alabama, I do not believe, is a toss-up. Florida, a little bit. Kentucky, you better beat. Mississippi State, you better beat. So I can see where you can get to 7 or 8. I think stretching beyond that is going to really, I think, be dependent upon Terry. I think honestly, bringing Lenoris back, and having him be your difference maker in some games, and having like Langston said, making sure you got that defense really solidified next season. The staff is back. Langston also mentioned maybe adding another quality coaching piece on the staff in some capacity to teach and really have guys better prepared on defense for just those little things to make those next steps. But at the same time, I'm not going to say if Shane doesn't win 8 games that he's out.
Right.
I don't. Especially now that you've signed these new coaches to 3-year deals. Now, I'm sure that's part of how you get them, is that you guarantee them certain things no matter what, and I get that's part of the business. But again, I would say, Terry, tell me how you lost, and let's go from there. But yeah, you look, this program always needs to be in bowl games. I'll say that much.
Yeah, look, and you're right. I mean, are you getting your doors blown off? You getting boat raced? How are you competing? Like this year, you were 4-8, and you were competitive in every game but one, and that's because your quarterback got hurt and everything got away from you. But you weren't. I mean, you weren't sitting there, like a slappy getting beat 50-10. I mean, even the Oklahoma game where you had chances earlier in the game and Oklahoma seemed to be controlling the game was never like, oh my God, you're getting killed. So, this team was never in over its head. Does that make sense? And they weren't at all this year.
And I agree with you.
This offense just couldn't get out of its own way. Now, to be glass half full guy, you had a real offensive coordinator who has a track record of having top 40, top 30 offenses. That kind of makes you feel good, makes you feel positive, saying, look, if your defense can be close to what it was last year and your special teams can be close to what it was last year, and your offense goes from one of the worst in America to, and I'll be kind, top 40, how much does that change how you play in games? I mean, there's just so many unknowns. I get where Pops is going. I understand what he's saying. Look, Shane can't come back with a 5-7 or a 4-8. Can't happen. 6-6 is a little, sketchy, too. But at the end of the day, I don't know if you can really put you've got to win these many games or else kind of line in the sand when we just don't know anything yet.
Right, I agree. Let's revisit that question. Maybe after the.
I mean, it's a legit question from Pops. It's a legit question. It is, but it's one of those. I guess for my thought process, I got to see a little bit more of what happens in the portal, who you keep, who you lose, things of that nature. Who's quarterbacking the team. And things like that before we figure that out. But, yeah, obviously Shane can't have another losing season after this one. I mean, that's a no-brainer. No. Can't have that. All right, you ready for some Wild Card Showdown? I saw some hippie dude walking around in here with a flannel shirt on.
Nice.
So
I am ready. Let's do it.
I called security. I don't know who he was. We got tased. It's all good. All right, Elijah Campbell's here. Jay Phillips. We got Kale. We need 2 of you, please. 803-404-6100. 803-404-6100. Playing for one of our cool craft beer cards. Jay will give us the results from last week as well. So give us a ring right now. Again, 803-404-6100. The first 2 to get in will play the Wild Card Showdown right here on the Postgame Show on the game. 803-404-6100, Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Dr. Dan and the staff here to help you. Look, if you're a guy, it's life. You get older, things just aren't going the way they did when you were younger. Whether it's, at the gym, that extra rep isn't there anymore on the bench. You feel like crap when you're bouncing back from workouts. Ibuprofen is your breakfast. Maybe you just don't have drive in life, whether it's bedroom, living room, boardroom, pick a room. You're not sleeping. Your mind, you don't remember things like you used to. Whatever it is, it could just be low testosterone or other reasons that can be helped at the Men's Clinic. Again, 803-404-6100. Give Dr. Dan the staff the call. Set up a free confidential consultation. Tell them your story, and they will go from there to try to get you back to feeling like you again with a specifically designed program for you. Men's Clinic.
Yep. Gotcha.
All right, Wild Card Showdown. We got our contestants. Jay Phillips, you ready to rock and roll? Elijah's here. Kale's here. You set to go, my man?
Does Kale have the band ready to go?
Yeah, Kale, you got to get the band going. And you want to give the results from last week real quick?
I do, yes. We did have a winner, and I did not get that done earlier in the week for you because I guess I was away a couple of days. But we did have a winner. It was Jamie. Nobody did well last week. Elijah did the best. Actually, Elijah went 4-1, but Terry, you and I were a very pathetic 1-4, which means that Jamie beat two of us. He got the tiebreaker over Tyson, who also went. Jamie went 2-3. Tyson went 2-3. You and I were terrible. Elijah was not. So Jamie last week was our winner. So, make sure that the prize committee gets a hold of Jamie.
Yeah.
And that takes us, as we go into the week, Elijah and I are at 39 and 36 against the spread. And you, Terry Ford, are 38 and 37. This is a tight
Look
race.
at this thing. Right down to the end, baby. Right down.
That's right.
And by the way,
on a recorded message.
On a recorded message. This is Elijah.
I got winners. I got winners.
I got mucus. I got all of it.
Emphysema.
I'm smoking my cigarette out of my neck right now.
I got my unfiltered luckies.
Blowing smoke rings with my throat. Man.
Doing great here.
All right, let's get our. You got our contestants there, Jay Phillips.
I got Dakar and I got Casey, is what I have been told by Kale. So we are ready to go. Dakar, Casey, how you doing, guys?
Doing great. How about y'all?
Doing all right, man. On a Friday, ready to go. All right, 4 against the spread. I did make the executive decision, Terry Ford. Kale persuaded me indirectly to add in the L.A. Bowl tomorrow. So I have I have pulled out Dallas and Minnesota, and I've replaced it with Washington and Boise in the L.A. Bowl. So I've mixed things up a little bit here right at the last.
I guess my first question, why are we listening to Kale all of a sudden?
Well, we're not listening to him as much as he reminded me that there was indeed a bowl game that we should probably have.
Nice to know my opinion is held in such high regard here.
Kale is a respecter of the bucked
that.
up L.A. Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah, and I learned what bucked up was. It's what'd you say, Kale? Some kind of supplement or something?
It's a workout supplement.
All
I think it's like a pre-workout.
Is say it very slowly.
Yeah, with a
Enunciate,
B.
please.
Milwaukee bucked up.
That's right. That's right. All right, so Dakar, we'll start with you. Army-Navy game tomorrow. It's in Baltimore this year, not in Philadelphia. Navy is a 6-point favorite over Army. What do you think?
I'm going to take the midshipman.
Taking Navy to cover the 6. Casey.
I'm going to go with Navy as well.
Navy. All right, Terry Ford, back in your old stomping ground. So what do you think?
I had a crazy weekend at the Naval Academy I can't talk about right now. But anyway, I'm taking Navy. Navy's a much better team than Army this year. I'll give Army the 6.
All right. I will take Army's 6 points. I will go Army plus the 6 because, hey, why not? Elijah?
I, too, will take Army to cover the 6. Rivalry game. Going to be closer than some think.
Give me those 6 points. I like that. All right, we are in the bucked up L.A. Bowl. Washington is an 8.5-point favorite over Boise State. I don't know which L.A. stadium this game is played in. I'm assuming SoFi?
Yes. You'd be correct.
Okay.
For any of those wondering, I'm taking Army to cover.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Kale's going to take an Army. Sorry about
Kale.
that, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, Kale. Yeah, we probably don't have time for Kale. You'll just have to write your own picks down. Casey, Washington, minus 8.5 over Boise. What do you think?
I'll take Boise State.
Boise to cover. Get some points on there. Dakar.
I think I'm going with Washington.
Washington to cover big. Elijah Campbell.
Give me Boise State to upset outright.
Ooh, outright. The winner, says Elijah Campbell. Okay. Terry Ford?
I'm going to take Boise State to cover. Yes.
Yeah, I'll take the 8.5 in a bowl game. Why not? You know, and again, is Jed Fish on his way out? Do Washington players know something we don't in this game? Maybe,
Distracted
maybe not.
coach alert.
I don't know. Just saying.
The
Just
grifter
saying.
could be packing his bags. You never know.
Maybe he does move a lot. There's no doubt. All right, to the NFL we go now. Buffalo 1.5-point favorites at New England. You heard me right. The Bills are the favorites in Foxborough. Elijah Campbell, I'll start with you. 1.5.
Ooh, wrong team favored? Maybe, but you know what? Give me the Bills. I think they do it. I think they shock some folks.
To get it done. Terry Ford.
The Bills lost at home to the Patriots earlier this year, so the Bills will go to New England and win. I can't count the Bills out till I count the Bills out in the AFC East. I'll take the Bills.
Josh Allen's on a heater right now.
Yes, he is.
He is. He is. I mean, and Terry, don't laugh at me because you know what I'm. But Josh Allen is pulling some John Elway vibes right now. I mean, he is taking over ball games. Not the same kind of quarterback per se, but he is just taking over at this point.
He's throwing touchdown passes to himself.
Yeah, well,
He's an
crazy,
animal.
man, but he is really on a roll. I'll take Buffalo as well to win that football game. Takar, what do you think?
I'm going with the Patriots.
Pats to keep getting it done. Maybe subliminally, I need New England to lose so Denver stays the number 1 seed. Casey, what do you think?
I'm going to take Drake May and the Pats.
I'm sorry, say that again, Casey. You broke up on me.
Drake May and the Pats.
There we go.
Okay,
Nice.
the Pats. All right, there you go. Thank you.
I think the Bills get it
Yeah.
done.
Drake May is having a good year as well.
Yeah, he is.
Rams. All right, next. Rams are 6-point favorites at home, air quotes, over Detroit. Elijah, I'll start with you.
Give me Detroit to cover. Give me that many points. Yeah, I'll take Detroit to cover.
Detroit. Dakar, what do you think?
I'm going with the points. Go with Detroit.
Detroit as well. All right, Casey.
I'll take the Rams.
All right, L.A. Rams. Terry, I'll come to you last. I'm going to take the Rams in this one at home. Whether home or away matters or not, I just feel like there's something with Detroit that feels off for this particular game, the way the Rams are playing. So I think the Rams maybe stretch this one out late and cover.
I think the
I'll go late
Rams
cover in this one.
I think the Rams win, but the Lions cover the 6.
All right.
That's the way I'm going there. But I think the Rams do win the game.
All right. Wild card time now. And Dakar, I will start with you. You get Kansas City. This is crazy to me. Kansas City, 5.5-point favorites at home over the Chargers, who I think are 3 games better than KC in the standings. What do you think, Dakar?
And what's that spread again?
5.5 in Kansas City.
Ooh, that's a tough one. But I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Taking KC at home. All right. Casey, you get one that you better say the right thing here, Casey. No, I'm kidding. Green Bay. Green Bay is a 2.5-point favorite at Denver on Sunday, Casey. What do you think?
I'm going to have to go with the Packers.
Going with the Packers. Casey, it's great to have you on the show. And,
We just lost you.
that'll be it for you. Casey, can you hear me? Casey, you still there? Elijah Campbell, you get the return of Phillip Rivers, or so we think, but Seattle installed as a 13.5-point favorite in an NFL game.
Ooh.
It's in Seattle.
You know what? Yeah, I'm taking Seattle to cover all that. They might win that by 3
You
touchdowns.
got no faith in Paw Paw?
I don't. A man who the only grandfather in the NFL who hasn't thrown a pass since 2020. Yeah, I got to skip on that one.
Yeah, most Paw Paws are throwing horseshoes out in the yard.
Terry
Paw,
Ford,
right,
you've got Chicago, 7.5-point favorites at home over the Browns.
Oh, give me Chicago. They'll cover that.
Chicago.
They'll cover
You're
that
out of town.
at home.
And I have got, Terry, your Baltimore Ravens, 2.5-point favorites in Cincinnati. It's payback time, man. It better be anyway. I will take Baltimore. They better get it done after what happened a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Finally, guys, real quick, tiebreaker. Again, going back to, like I said, Josh Allen on a heater. I just want total offense for Josh Allen on Sunday. And Elijah Campbell, I'll start with you.
Let's do 333.
333. All right. Casey, we'll go to you next.
Let's say 350.
350. Terry Ford.
That's a good Patriot defense, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 351.
No.
Oh, he did it again.
Wow, you did do it again.
He did it again.
We'll let Dakar go last. I'll go just, let's see, I'm going to go 310. 310. So, Dakar, you get the last number.
352.
Yes! We got to get Dakar something just for that.
Yes!
Just for that. That's
Dakar
the way to
gets
play the
something.
game.
I don't know what.
That's
You're going
the
to
way
get
to
something,
play.
Dakar. Man, that was good. Excellent, Dakar.
All right. All right. Everybody's locked in. Dakar and Casey, thank you for listening, boys. Thank you for playing. Good stuff. And we'll let you know over the weekend. Well played. Dakar, you get a bonus.
That was beautiful. I have a tear.
That was good
That was
stuff.
fantastic.
That was good stuff.
All right.
Hey, Terry.
Yeah.
I just want to let Terry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I lost my voice.
You're all right.
I'm all right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're all right, Dakar. Nice
No,
work,
we're
man.
just saying you did that. Nice work, man.
Good work, my friend. We
I
appreciate
appreciate
you.
it.
I appreciate you, man. Good
That
job.
made a good contest.
Good job.
Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Now, are you leaving us now there, Mr. Phillips?
No, I'll come back and hang with you boys for one more.
All right, we'll come back here. Continue to talk about a lot of Carolina news today. We'll get back to it next here on the post-game show. Terry Ford, Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell, Kale, all in the game.
What? No, I did not. Sorry.
All right, time to check the traffic. Some stop and go in Columbia, I-20 westbound between I-26, exit 64 and 63, Bush River Road. I-26 westbound between Sunset Boulevard and St. Andrews. That's exits 110 and 106. In Lexington, also some slow traffic. I-26 eastbound, Piney Grove Road, exit 104, and the I-20 exit at 107B. Accident I-26 eastbound at I-20, that exit there, 107B. Monticello Road at I-20. Shop Road at Pineview Drive. Three Dog Road at Dutch Fork Road. We'll pop back in here. Gamecocks with the schedule. Gamecocks with the big presser day to introduce the new assistant coaches. We'll talk about it more. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Elijah Campbell, Kale, the postgame show on the game. All right, post-game show on a Friday. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell, Kale, Terry Ford hanging out as we roll here till 6. We'll keep our buddy Jay one more segment as we pot him back in here. All right, so I won't lie to you. I don't know how you fellas felt. Today, and just go behind the curtain to not to bore people, but so we had the presser today. I was thinking the last time, Shane went full-blown introducing a coordinator, the Dow Loggins, right? And, Shane scorched some earth for a few minutes, then went to the thing and brought in Dow, and Dow told stories about Jay Cutler and, Ryan Tannehill and whatever. And the thing went at least an hour, if my memory serves me, if not even more. It was a long time. So today, I'm telling Tyler, hey, man, be ready for an hour. We can't run any commercials. We'll make them up later. I'm hitting all the affiliates. Hey, guys, we're doing this, that, whatever. What, about a half hour into this baby, they're all standing up and piecing out. I'm like, what are we doing here? What the hell happened? Half an hour?
I think it went 36 minutes?
Yeah, 36 minutes. I thought Kendall Browse alone would get 36 minutes worth of questions from the media. I was a little surprised it went as quick as it did, fellas. Am I going to lie?
No Jay Cutler stories to tell, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and with three guys, too. But, no, men a few words. I think the biggest thing we learned, I kid a little bit here, Randy Clements likes to go by Clem.
Clem. By the way,
Call him
are
Clem.
you surprised by seeing him? He goes by Clem?
No.
No, not at all.
No. And so, for Elijah and David and Jack and Lulu and all our friends that ask questions every week, Elijah, just Clem.
Clem. Keep it short, sweet.
I did think it was funny that when they were going to questions, Shane told all of them, the guy from the Post and Courier, the Cloninger guy, goes first.
That's right.
I thought that was pretty good.
Introduce him to the order of operations around here.
Exactly. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, but what thoughts did you guys take from, again, not the longest presser, and you had three guys all talking, and Shane, started the whole thing off. So there wasn't a lot to pull from, but Elijah, what'd you take from it?
I liked Kendall Browse's answer on if Lenora Sellers is returning, that my job is to do what highlights his skill set.
That was my favorite, too.
He's not going to marry Lenora Sellers with a system that doesn't fit him, right? Like, you look at what Lenora Sellers does, you look at that skill set, which is going to be different than a lot of quarterbacks because there's so much raw athleticism, there's so much ability outside of the pocket that if you do try to just corral him and make him solely a pocket passer, you're not fully utilizing what he is. But catering your offense to what it is he does well, I thought is encouraging, especially considering how he tailored TCU's offense to what Josh Hoover does well.
Which was the difference to how he tailored the offense to KJ Jefferson.
Yes, so there's a track record to him actually doing this really
absolutely.
well.
How about you, Jay?
Well, that's that. Yeah, I think track record is exactly what I take. And Terry, you and I touched on this last hour about how you and I felt, and Elijah. I don't know how. I know you and Preston discussed a lot of this, and Jen, in terms of what y'all saw. But again, I'll come back to my point. It just felt to me in 2025 like the system Lenora Sellers was helming was not really designed to bring out all of his best qualities. And like I say, I could be dead wrong, and it may well be that, Terry, like we've said, maybe some of it was just lack of execution up front that forced so many, otherwise good play calls to just, fade into the ether because you couldn't block and protect. But I don't think that's the full story. I think to Elijah's point right there, I saw at times a quarterback who felt like he was trying way too hard to stay in the pocket and make those reads, and that's a noble cause. I'm here for the progression and learning, but again, track record of Kendall Briles to have all these different kinds of quarterbacks and utilize what they do. That's what, I mean, who you got on your team. And maybe, look, I know we can sit here and say a lot of bad things about Kendall's dad and some of the things at Baylor, but I do want to say this. When you go and look at Art Briles' overall resume, here's the thing. He like a lot of coaches, he was a high school coach, a really good one in Texas. Well, in high school, you don't know what you got, right? I mean, hey, who's the tall kid? I mean, the tall kid could have been 6 inches shorter the last spring, right? And 50 pounds lighter, and all of a sudden here he is next year at tryouts. You're like, well, dadgum, we gotta do something with him, and you fit it, and it just, you find a way to evolve, through the different levels of football. So in that respect, I just appreciate the fact that you take what you've got and you mold it into what those guys can do. You don't try to fit them in to what you want to do. And so I again, hopeful that Carolina can get a lot out of that next year. And let's just be honest one more time. Let's hope that Shane and Kendall and whomever else can, in effect, re-recruit Lenoris to come have one more year in Columbia.
To this point, aren't we kind of seeing that's the wave of these coaches, like the Kirk Cignettis, the guys who coach 10 different levels and learn, like you said, Jay, hey, that tall kid in the cafeteria, you think you can play? You learn how to build around what you have. And you're seeing, again, the hot shot big hires aren't working. It's these second-level hires that everybody goes, oh, who the hell's that guy? We joked about Mike Elko. You thought Mike Elko at SEC Media Days was hey, can you put some more pudding up? Because we're out of pudding here in the dessert aisle. and look what Mike Elko, but again, here's a guy that coached his way up. Not some fancy hire or was a shiny coordinator and then got handed the keys to a great program. I really think that's what we're looking at today in general. Coaches who have gone through all the levels to learn how to build what they want to do around the players they have and develop players and learn all those things. I'm going to tell you now, if Bob Chesney doesn't work at UCLA, it's UCLA's fault.
Agreed.
I'll give you that.
He's another guy. Look at that track record. Coach Sig took everybody with him to from JMU.
Wasn't even 16 that he left.
I mean,
right.
So, at the end of the day, Chesney had to rebuild that on the fly. I'm just saying, to your point, Jay, about Art Briles as a high school coach. The guy Traylor at UT San Antonio, high school coach. We're seeing these guys now who are coming from, whatever you want to call it, the lower levels of just learning how to develop, learning how to build a roster, build systems and philosophies around what they have. And that goes to the point of Kendall Briles. You look at what he's done with different quarterbacks and different programs. Everything fits the mold of the guy. And that was, I think we all agreed, that's the biggest takeaway from today's presser.
Yeah. And then my thing about high school coaches, too. You're not afraid to innovate. You innovate because you have to.
You have no choice.
Right?
Yeah,
you have to innovate.
Yes,
right.
Thank you. That's my point. Yeah, you have to. Like, you don't, you get what you get, right? So I think it's good. And again, like Shane talked about Stan Drayton, has known him a long time, been hoping to get a running backs coach like that, another proven track record. Again, the familiarity of Randy Clements in the Briles system is huge. So, again, we're not going to sit here and say Carolina 10 wins for sure next year. I'm not doing that at all, but I think it is going to be a breath of fresh air. And again, let's hope that they get 16 to be leading that offense one more time.
All right, my friend, get some rest. We appreciate you hanging out.
We'll do.
Have a good weekend.
And I get to talk on Monday. I can talk about my Heisman votes.
There we go.
Yes.
And we will do that.
Yeah.
Jay Phillips, we'll talk to Jay on Monday. Thanks for hanging out, Elijah, my man. Appreciate you. We'll come back, talk about that Heisman stuff next here on the Postgame Show.
Bye, Jay.
Post-game show, Terry Ford, Kales here, punching up the buttons as we go up until 6 on the game. Heisman Trophy, we will find out who this weekend's going to. To me, it's a two-guy race. This is no offense to Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame or Julian Sain at Ohio State. I think it's either Diego Pavia, Fernando Mendoza, Francisco Mendoza. Who the hell's Fernando Mendoza? I just think that Mendoza's going to win. I'd vote for Pavia. I think Pavia should win. But a lot of voters look at the one-loss record of the team. Indiana's number one in the country. Mendoza's thrown 33 touchdown passes. He's got really good numbers. I mean, a lot of Pavia's numbers are better than Mendoza, but Mendoza does have some numbers better than Pavia as well. But Mendoza has had a couple of Heisman moments. That throw against Penn State, some of the big throws against Oregon in that win in Eugene. Again, a lot of voters, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a percentage of voters that look at the one-loss record of the team. And obviously, Vandy is not undefeated like Indiana. That's why I think Mendoza will win. And if Mendoza wins, it's not like, oh, my God, the Heisman got stolen from Diego Pavia. I understand Mendoza winning. I'd vote for Pavia. There's a bunch of reasons. One, no one player in America affected his team's ability to win games like Diego Pavia. He changed the culture of Vandy football. I mean, with Diego Pavia, he led that team. He dragged that team from the basement of the SEC to where they are at now. Did he do it alone? No. Obviously, it's a team sport. You know, you got 3 phases, all these other things, but Pavia was the leader of the whole thing. And nobody else. Look, Mendoza showed up. Indiana made the playoffs last year. Vandy was, when Pavia showed up, Vandy was a punchline, and Clark Lee was coaching for his job. And now they're 10-2, and Clark Lee got an extension, which I think a percentage should go to Diego Pavia. Just saying. Also, Pavia on the field was phenomenal. Even that loss to Texas, Diego Pavia was ridiculous.
They shouldn't have even lost that game.
They almost came back and won the bleeping thing.
I think that recovery of that onside kick, if you go back and watch it, they should have got it, and Vandy should have won that game. If Vandy wins that game, they're in the playoff.
Yeah, think about it. And, you know, I mean, the second half against Bama, they soiled themselves. But that Texas game, you're right. You recover that onside kick. The way Texas could not stop Vandy. If Vandy gets the ball back, I feel like Vandy goes down and scores.
At the very least, ties it with a field goal.
Yes. So I just think Pavia, when you take all of it together, what he did on the field this year and the leadership piece that Pavia has brought to that program, and just what he has done, not just on the field, but off the field for that football team this year. And no offense to Mendoza. Again, Mendoza wins it. I get it. It's not like, oh, I can't believe this. What a screw job. No, not at all. But I'd vote for Pavia. That's just me. I think Mendoza will win. I believe it will be close, though, between those two guys. I really do. But think about this for a minute. Whoever wins out of the two, run this through your skull. Either an Indiana Hoosier or a Vanderbilt Commodore will win the Heisman Trophy.
I mean, that's pretty historic.
Kick that between your eardrums real quick. That's insane. If you would have said that 5 years ago, someone would have drug tested you. That's where college football, I'm not saying that's not bad. I think it's cool. I love this. I love the fact that one of those two guys from one of those two schools is going to win the Heisman Trophy. Phenomenal. Just phenomenal. But and we talked about this yesterday in The Athletic, talking about Vanderbilt. They had talked to 50 people that are in college football, and they said the toughest programs to win at, list them, Vanderbilt's still in the top 5. A lot of people think once Pavia leaves that this thing will fall back, despite the fact they just got the number 1 pocket passer in the country in high school recruiting. A lot of people think this Vanderbilt juggernaut is short-lived. I'm not ready to go that far. We'll see. Well, you know what it depends on, really? Does Vanderbilt want to put the financial effort into being really good? A lot of rich people graduated from Vanderbilt, Cale. A lot of rich people. There's a lot of money.
The big thing is Vanderbilt, if you look, I mean, they've got tools to be successful. They're located in Nashville. I mean, and that's a pretty big town. They're the only college program there. And, I mean, Tennessee State is there, but no one pays attention to them compared to Vanderbilt.
Well,
and, like the Titans aren't very good. So now it's like the Vanderbilt football is the only good thing in football season they have right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it for a minute, if they really go all in financially on football, they could sustain success. They've just got to go all in financially on football. They care about academics. What's wrong with those folks?
Well, they're doing it in the recruiting trail for sure.
Tell you what, so we'll see. But I think Mendoza wins, but I'd vote for Pavia. I hope Pavia wins. Nothing against Mendoza. But, all right, 5 o'clock news. Big breaking story nationally coming up in college football. All right, check on the traffic. We got some accidents. Clemson Road at Longtown Road, also I-26 westbound to Bush River Road. That's exit 108A. Likes Lane at Riverwalk Way, 3 Dog Road at Dutch Fork Road as well. We'll pop back, 5 o'clock news. A breaking story in college football involving a head coach. And it's not Sharon Moore. We'll get to that, too. It's coming up in the 5 o'clock news, sponsored by our buds Integrated Media. That's coming up next here on the Postgame Show on the Game. All righty, 5 o'clock news here on the post-game show, sponsored by our buds at Integrated Media. Of course, Shane Beamer today introducing the new coaches. Coach Briles, Coach Clements, or Coach Clem, and Coach Drayton. And we'll get you some sound. Let's start off with Shane. Cut one here, Cale, talking about Kendall Briles, the new offensive coordinator.
I called a lot of people, called Rocket Sanders about him. Had him on speakerphone in my house last week. Emily was sitting there with me. I think she had a Hallmark Christmas movie on or something, but she heard the conversation that was going on, and I said to Rocket, hey, I didn't tell him why I was calling. I just, good to talk to you, all that stuff. How's the NFL going? And I said, if I said the name Kendall Briles to you, what would you say? And he didn't hesitate, and he said, get it done, is what Rocket said. And I said, well, hold up now, like get it done, like hire him, or get it done like he can get it done? And he goes, both. So knowing how I feel about Rocket and the kind of player he is and the person he is, that said a lot. Talked to a lot of coaches about him for sure, but couldn't be more excited about him.
Look, it's a hire. I won't lie. When the offensive coordinator position was open, my thought process was, how was the coaching community, and I'm talking about offensive coordinators or people who want to be an offensive coordinator, whatever, guys who, coordinate the offensive side of the ball, how are they going to look at the South Carolina opening? Because, again, Shane's coming off a 4-8, and there's a lot of talk that, you obviously have to get it together next year. You have an athletic director who didn't hire you. And you've got to get this thing turned around. And if you don't, there might be a head coaching search after next year. Some offensive coordinators wouldn't want to get near that because they're scared they're going to be one and done. They're looking for another gig. Again, people like stability. Call me crazy. And my thought was, well, first of all, to get a high-level offensive coordinator, you're going to have to pay one. And you got to bring in someone who's going to have to believe in what you have here and saying basically, hey, look, they play good D. Special teams are good, culture's good, recruiting's good. They just need to be able to start scoring some points and look at it from that lens and that perspective. And you might find a guy with a resume, just might be timing. And I think a lot of that came together for a perfect storm to get a Kendall Briles. First of all, South Carolina paid him $2 million in 26, 2.1 in 27, 2.2 in 28. So you're paying him, that's for sure. So thumbs up to South Carolina for dropping the dough to get a coordinator with a resume.
I just have one question, and one question only. What Hallmark Christmas movie was Emily watching?
Yeah. Let's see, probably one. Well, there's only like, the same 5 people are in every Hallmark movie. Every Hallmark movie has just like Lifetime. It's the same like crew. Probably something to do with,
I'm sure there'll be people that are
Christmas
happy I asked that question.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised nobody in the media didn't ask Shane. Hey, Shane, quick question. Yeah. What Hallmark movie was the wife watching?
And did she make any of her famous cookies?
Yes.
As it was on? I heard Elijah tasted them.
Yeah, Elijah liked them. He thinks they're good.
I'm jealous.
Well, I'll tell you this, though. Then my question would be, this is why I'm not at these pressers. Shane, was Emily really watching that by herself, or were you watching the Hallmark movie too? Come on now. Anyway, also let's get to is it cut to there about another one about Briles? Cale, is cut to another one about Briles? Okay, here's another cut from the presser about the new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, appreciate it, Coach. First of all, I want to thank Rocket Sanders for that comment. But no, it's been an unbelievable 24 hours just being here. For my family, just incredibly blessed and grateful to be here for the opportunity Coach Beamer has given us to join and be just a small part of the incredible staff that he already has with his defensive staff and Clayton White and Joe D with special teams and to join the other guys offensively. So very grateful to be back in the SEC. I know how big of a deal that is, and we're incredibly excited. So thank you to Jeremiah and President and Jeff and everybody who was involved with the situation. And we're excited to get to work. Columbia looks like a beautiful place. We've seen it kind of only in the dark, but get to go out there and look around a little bit today. But we're incredibly blessed to be here and get ready to get to work. Thank you.
Look, when I think about the whole situation with Briles, because again, your thought is, okay, you're at TCU. It's a Power 4 gig. TCU is in that spot where, it's a winning program, maybe not getting back to the college football playoff championship like a couple years ago, but still a program that is a winning program. So you are in the state of Texas where, you're from. So why would you make the move? And as I run it through my head, we had talked to a couple of different guys this week who covered TCU, and it felt like that because Briles went to Baylor, the rival of TCU, that started off in a bad way anyway. One of the guys who covered TCU said, think about this. It's like having someone who went to Clemson come be the offensive coordinator at South Carolina. And it's like, okay, I get it. I do. And me, I'm one of those guys. I get that, but if you come in and tear it up, I don't really care where you I don't care where you I don't care if you graduated from the school of podiatry. I mean, if you come in and your offense scores a ton of points. But so Briles started at TCU with some negativity from a lot of folks. And that's been going on for 3 years. The offense, it was really good the first year. It's still been good, but it hasn't been as good. There's been issues running the ball. And the offensive line had some troubles in 2025 from what the folks who cover it told us. So maybe take all that together. And after 3 years, Briles was like, I can't win here anyway, no matter what I do. Maybe he just got tired of that negativity or that you're a Baylor guy or whatever. And he just wanted a fresh start and a change. And maybe you look at South Carolina on the offensive side of the ball. If you're Kendall Briles, maybe you go, like the wide receivers, got 2 young running backs that are interesting. I think we can fix the offensive line by the style of play we have, and we'll find offensive linemen who fit that style. I think we can do some good stuff there because we have some pieces in place. The quarterback, obviously, I'd like to get that guy back, but if he goes to the NFL, we'll figure out the quarterback too. But I can see him liking a lot. And, again, he's going to try to talk Lenore Sellers into coming back, obviously. And we'll see what happens. Because if you could get Lenore Sellers to come back to run this offense, because you saw what K.J. Jefferson did at Arkansas under the tutelage of Kendall Briles. And no offense to K.J. Jefferson, Lenore Sellers is a better player, a better quarterback.
I'm sure K.J. Jefferson is listening, just fuming right now.
He does. He listens all the time.
He's got steam coming out of his ears.
I blocked his text messages last week. It just got embarrassing. But so he's just so. Again, if you could get Lenore Sellers to come back, Kendall Briles will put together an offense that will obviously be built around Sellers' strengths. Because what we heard from John Neighbors, who covers Arkansas and was covering Arkansas at that time from inside Arkansas, Neighbors said the best thing Kendall Briles did was just concentrate on what KJ Jefferson could do and didn't ask him to do what he couldn't do. And Kendall Briles' thing with KJ Jefferson was, look, dude, you are a very instinctive player. We're just going to go with that. You're at your best when you're just instinctively playing quarterback. I'm not bogging you down with things to think about. You just go play. That's when you're at your best. Sound familiar? Know anybody like that maybe quarterbacks at South Carolina the last couple of years? So, again, that's the hope is if you can persuade him to come back for whatever his reasons would be, one of the biggest things could be, look, this offense will be basically tailored to you, Lenore Sellers. Now, again, all that depends. We talked about this in the opening riff of the show. A lot of this is going to depend on what the NFL tells Lenore Sellers. I still think there are enough teams in the NFL who are mystified by the physical gifts and the talents and the traits and the upside and what they saw during that 6-game win streak in 2024 that will look at what happened this past year as the offensive line was terrible and the system of offense wasn't very good. And it held Sellers back. But could I be wrong? Sure. And maybe Lenoris doesn't get the intel that makes him feel good about making that move and decides to come back for another year to rebuild his draft stock and to play at South Carolina for a third season in this offense and throw the ball to his brother and all that other stuff that could happen. That'd be great. It would. But I think a lot of this is going to depend on what the NFL tells him. But Kendall Briles will build an offense around what Lenoris Sellers does well. All right, 5 o'clock news sponsored by our buds Integrated Media. Let's get another one in here. Kale, let's get, cut 3. Shane Beamer talking about his new offensive line coach. We're going to start right away, calling him Clem. Hit it.
Did not know him at all. As I made some phone calls, I called Mac Brown, who he worked for at the University of North Carolina most recently, and asked Coach Brown about him. And you guys know the respect I have for Coach Brown, and the feedback he gave me on Coach Clements was all I needed to hear. And then as I met with him and got to know him a little bit better, you realize why Coach Brown is saying the things that he said. Proven, again, great leadership, great person, proven offensive line coach at the highest level, done it in multiple conferences, has done a great job of recruiting and developing players, and is really, really excited about this opportunity to be in Columbia. So we're super excited to welcome Coach Clements and his wife, Polly, here to Columbia. And with that, let me introduce to you Randy Clements.
You know, Coach Clements, I just think it's interesting that Kendall Briles brought Randy Clements with him, because, again, Clements has known Briles for many, many years, and Clements knows the type of offensive lineman and the type of offensive line play that Kendall Briles needs to run his offense. And so you kind of bring him as a package deal. I think that's quite interesting. And obviously Kendall Briles probably said, hey, this Randy Clements guy, I really would like for you to talk to him about being the offensive line coach. So very interesting. We'll get some more audio from the presser today here in the Gamecock Notebook coming up in a few minutes. All right, this just popped about, a half hour ago. Utah football coach Kyle Whittingham will step down following the Utes' appearance in the Las Vegas Bowl. Whittingham, he took over for Urban Meyer. That's how long Kyle Whittingham has been at the University of Utah.
I am 23 years old as of right now. He took over when I was 2 years old.
Yeah, you were 2. Think about that.
He's done a good job there, though.
Oh, he's done a phenomenal job. He's one of the most underrated coaches in America. Whittingham has been with the program since 1994. Was named head coach in 2004, again taking over for Urban Meyer. He's won 177 games since then. That ranks third among active coaches in FBS. There was some whispering about Whittingham stepping down at some point soon. No one knew if it was going to be at the end of this year or not. Utah was really good in 2025. Whittingham is 66 years old. And he has figured it's time. Now, the coach in waiting has been Morgan Scully, the defensive coordinator. He's been the coach in waiting since July 1st of last year, 2024. So he will step in and take over. And we'll see what happens. I mean, Utah has been lucky. They had Urban Meyer, who got the Utes program really rolling, handed off to Kyle Whittingham, who obviously kept that success going as well. We'll see what Morgan can do. Now, moving into the coach's office as Kyle Whittingham will step down after the bowl game. All right, real quick, Sherrone Moore update. The former Michigan head coach facing 3 criminal charges at his arraignment. The details came out today. Prosecutors have charged Moore with felony third-degree home invasion and then 2 misdemeanors, stalking in a domestic relationship and breaking and entering. Moore was released from jail after meeting the $25,000 bond. And, again, the timeline, the things that went on here, you can catch up and read those all over social media. Gamecock Notebook is coming up next here on the Postgame Show on the Game. All right, get your caught up Gamecock notebook. The men go out at 6:30 tomorrow night against Citadel, 7 o'clock tip. The women hosting Penn State, 3 o'clock pregame, 3:30 tip on Sunday. That's what's happening this weekend with hoops here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia. The men will also be on our affiliate in Myrtle Beach at 100.3 The Game. All right, obviously the big news of the schedule. We kind of have been back and forth on the schedule. Let's get to that real quick. Again, we don't even know who's quarterback in this team. We don't know who the offensive line is. We don't know who the starting running back would be or running backs. We have no idea, who's staying, who's leaving defensively through the portal, who's coming in, who's going out. We do know Brandon Cisse and Jalen Kilgore have announced they're going to roll off to the NFL draft. But when you look at the schedule, and if you haven't seen it yet today, real quick, September 5th against Kent State, September 12th against Towson, and September 19th against Mississippi State. All three of those are home games. First road trip is September 26th to Tuscaloosa to face Alabama. Then back home, hosting Kentucky. So 4 of your first 5 are at Williams-Brice. And 4 of those 5 are winnable games. And then not to say you can't beat Alabama, but you'll be favored over Kent State, Towson, Mississippi State, and Kentucky most likely. Then the trip to Florida against a team with a brand new head coach in John Summerall. Then you hit the open date October 17th. So the first 6, 4 home, 2 away. You pop back October 24th hosting Tennessee. Then a road trip to Norman to face Oklahoma. Then back home against Texas A&M. Then to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas. Back home. Georgia comes to Williams-Brice. And then to the upstate to end the year at Clemson. So after having 4 of the first 5 at home, really the 4 of the first 6, then you hit the open date. And after that, it's home game, road game, home game, road game, home game, road game to finish the season. Again, it feels like, and again, we don't know for sure of anything, but just right now sitting here yipping in December, you look at the schedule, Kent State, Towson, Mississippi State, Kentucky, even going to Florida before the open date, it feels like those 6, you have a shot at 5 of them. And then you come out of the open date and things change. Look, so much of this is unknown right now. And yes, the one thing that held South Carolina back last year was a bad offense. And now you have brought in a real offensive coordinator with a resume, so you're hoping the offense is going to be a lot better. How much of that's going to help you? I mean, remember, this past year you were in a lot of games and you couldn't close the deal because of your offense. Or you couldn't win a one-score game that was teetering because of your offense. But that's the schedule that came out last night on the SEC Network. All right, now back to today. Shane Beamer, the introductory press conference for new offensive coordinator Kendall Briles, new offensive line coach Randy Clements, and new running backs coach Stan Drayton. Let's get to cut 5 here real quick. Cale, Shane Beamer talking about his new running backs coach, Stan Drayton. Cut 5.
Stan's awesome. Left Mississippi State, and then what really, saw him during that year in Starkville, but then how he's grown as a coach and the people that he's been around. The University of Florida, Ohio State University, the University of Texas. I went and visited the Chicago Bears when he was coaching running backs with the Chicago Bears, and he was up there with Alshon Jeffrey. And then last season at Penn State, been a head coach at Temple. So much that I'll be able to lean on him for, somebody that I trust and respect greatly, and being able to get him here to be a part of the program is an absolute grand slam for us. So our assistant head coach for offense and running backs coach, Stan Drayton.
All right, so this is the 3rd running backs coach in the last 4 years at South Carolina, and you hope you hit it big with Stan Drayton, who's a veteran, been doing this a long time, has had, a very long list of running backs under his tutelage who have been successful. So you hope this one is going to stick. Also, again, got to go Cruton, and Stan Drayton's done that for a long time as well. And it's interesting that, Shane and Stan Drayton knew each other way back in the day at Mississippi State when they were both young assistants. So, and Shane was funny to going, yeah, but I was single back then. So, Stan Drayton brings a lot of experience, and hopefully you upgrade that running back coach position. It's kind of been hit or miss. All right, I want to get to this cut, too. It's cut 8, Cale. It'll be Kendall Briles talking about installing a new offense. Again, cut 8, offensive coordinator Kendall Briles.
I don't think he had a playbook because he didn't want anybody to be able to get it. I think that was kind of the biggest deal about never having one. Obviously we're going to have one and talk to the offense today about that. As soon as we can get them information and get them going when they come in here in January, and I'm sure we'll have some skills and drills where we're able to do some things throughout the offseason. It's imperative. I mean, obviously the more they know, the faster they can go play, so they're not having to think on the field. So, it's huge that we get that information to them as fast as we can while we're learning our personnel and what these guys can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a learning curve, right? I mean, Kendall Briles, maybe he's seen a little bit of South Carolina, but he'll be getting a deep dive, like he might be doing it right now, to see what he's got. And again, look, Shane's going to say, look, man, the offensive line was an issue. We'd love to get our quarterback back. We've got some interesting, talented skill position guys. We just need somebody to take this thing and go make it what it can be. And again, you have to learn your personnel, though. You have to be able to build your offense around the skill set of your players. We say this all the time. That's what really good OCs do. And speaking of that, let's get cut 14 in here, Cale. This is Kendall Briles talking about Lenora Sellers and building the offense around him. Cut 14.
No, not within the last couple of weeks. Once it got where we knew this thing was pretty much done, then had an opportunity to speak with him on the phone. But what was the second part of your question? How would he fit in this offense? It's really more the offense fitting around him. I mean, he's a quarterback. He's touching the ball every single snap. I'm not going to go out there and ask him to do something he's not great at. So we're going to build the offense around him and the rest of the personnel and do the things that he's really good at. And so we want him to be comfortable. Like I said, he's out there with people, running full speed at him, probably in a bad attitude and trying to get after him. So we're going to do the things that he feels really comfortable with, and I'm excited to work with him. Seems like a great kid.
Hallelujah. Friends, praise. Those are words you want to hear, in my opinion, if you're a Gamecock fan. Building the offense around the skill set of Lenora Sellers if he comes back to play at South Carolina.
Building an offense around Lenora Sellers. What a novel concept.
I know. Crazy idea. Crazy thinking. But that's what good OCs do. I thought it was interesting. Jordan Kay asked Kendall Briles, the previous answer was about not having a playbook. Art Briles, his dad, not having a playbook. And Kendall was like, yeah, because dad didn't want anybody to steal it. But, look, say what you want about Art Briles off the field. Not going to disagree with you. I understand that, but when it comes to coaching offense, Art Briles was a genius. And Kendall learned a lot from Dad, and his offenses have been good. That's the one thing. You look at the resume, the offenses have pretty much scored about 30 points a game. So, again, to me, good hire. Just a good hire. Your offense is going to be much better than it was last year. All right, Drive Around the SEC is coming up next here on the Postgame Show. Get your call on news around the Southeastern Conference. That is next. Cale punching the buttons is Terry Ford. We're hanging until 6 on the game. Get you caught up on the traffic. And we got a couple more reports here till we get to the weekend here on the game. All right, a bunch of accidents right now in Lexington, Augusta Road at Laurel Road, West Columbia, Augusta Road near Jarvis Clapman Boulevard, Clemson Road at Longtown Road, also Gardendale Drive at Bush River Road, Lakes Lane Lakes Lane, I should say, near Riverwalk Way, Two Notch Road near Sparkleberry Lane as well. We'll come back, get you a drive around the SEC. It's next here on the Postgame Show. All right, drive around the SEC. Get you caught up on what's going on. Scheduled tonight, men's hoops. Texas will travel to UConn. I don't know if travel to UConn or not. Let me see here. It might be a neutral court deal. Let me take a look here. It's on Fox. Yeah, they're at UConn, is Texas. UConn. I watched UConn play in that Florida game. UConn's nice, man. They're good. They are good. Texas will roll into UConn at 7-3. Huskies 5th in the country at 9-1. SEC obviously really gets rolling on the weekend. That game is Saturday. Oh, interesting. Interesting. All right, hoops in the SEC on the weekend. Missouri will host Bethune-Cookman on Sunday, and Texas A&M will be at home up against Jacksonville. Missouri 9-2 on the year, Texas A&M 7-3. Now Saturday, they're reloaded for me. All right, on Saturday, some interesting games. Texas Tech, number 16 in the country, hosting number 17 Arkansas. Oklahoma State is at Oklahoma. Oklahoma under Porter Moser has a very slow start this year so far at 6-3 are the Sooners. And Porter got to the NCAA tournament finally. It took a bit. Last year was his first season to get there. But losing, got beat bad by Oklahoma State in one of their losses. I mean Arizona State. So I'm not saying patience is thin on Porter Moser at Oklahoma, but you probably want to stack another NCAA tournament trip this year. And right now sitting at 6-3. Oklahoma State, by the way, 9-0. 8-1 Georgia will be hosting Cincinnati on Saturday. And Florida at 5-4 will be in Gainesville taking on George Washington. Florida's 5-4, but 3 of those 4 losses were to ranked teams. Again, we talked about this the other day. Florida's backcourt's got to get consistent. If Florida's backcourt gets consistent with Lee and Fland, then Florida can start looking like Florida, like they did last year a bit. Ole Miss, Chris Beard's going crazy about his Rebels. Snapped off at a press conference after the latest loss. Ole Miss will be hosting Southern. And the Rebels this year, they're just not playing the way that Chris Beard wants them to play. It's that simple. Lost to Miami. Lost to a ranked St. John's team. Also, Iowa got Ole Miss, and Utah beat Ole Miss by a point. So Chris Beard not in a good space with his basketball team right now. Not happy with the lack of consistent intensity is probably the best way to put it. Auburn, 21st ranked team in the country, will be at home against Chattanooga. And Auburn, now again, Bruce Pearl's gone. His kid's now the head coach. Auburn this year, it's been a mixed bag. Last time out, Auburn got boat raced by a really good Arizona team, 97-68. I mean, that was a throttling, man. It just was. Number 15, Vanderbilt. Yes, undefeated number 15, Vanderbilt hosting Central Arkansas. Kentucky, who is not ranked now, Kentucky's 6-4. They'll be hosting an Indiana team coming in at 8-2. You know, Kentucky's played some high-level competition, but Kentucky's been losing games. Gonzaga, what Gonzaga did to Kentucky was a felony in that Music City Madness 94-59.
Seeing their fans boo them off the court at halftime was hilarious.
I know.
And I don't really feel bad for them at all. Kentucky basketball fans are some of the most spoiled fans in the world.
Yes, they are. They're not down with getting beat by what 35? They're not down with getting beat by 35 points.
They're down with doing the beating by 35.
Yes. Trust me, I did a short time. I was working in Lexington, Kentucky. They packed the place for an exhibition game, you know, against a bunch of dudes from the Y. I mean, they take hoop so serious, and when you get beat like that by Gonzaga, not good. And before that, Kentucky had lost to North Carolina in a really good game in the ACC-SEC Men's Challenge. That game was also in Lexington, 67-64. North Carolina had beat Kentucky. Kentucky got smacked around by Michigan as well. As I look back here in Kentucky again.
Michigan's good, though.
Michigan might be the best team in America.
Did you see what they did to Gonzaga a few weeks ago?
You know what's interesting? Gonzaga is doing that to other people, and then Michigan did that to Gonzaga. And Gonzaga's really good, and they couldn't stay on the court with Michigan.
Michigan?
Michigan's scary.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen a team, at least as of right now, and with how Michigan's performed, I haven't seen a team that looks like they can compete with Michigan.
Right now, to me, I've seen Duke's really good, too, and they're playing both ends of the court, but I'm going to say this. I haven't seen a team as good as Michigan all year. Michigan can play, man. They guard you. They've got perimeter dudes. They've got bigs. Michigan is a thing. They are scary good. Also, Louisville beat Kentucky. The final was like, I watched the last 10 minutes of this game. Kentucky was down double digits, came back to their credit, but Louisville holds on for an 8-point win. The weird thing about Kentucky this year is offensively, they're just not right. Defensively, they're better this year than they were last year, but offensively, they're just not as efficient as they were last year. Again, long way to go in the season, but right now, Kentucky's a scuffling. Also on Saturday, obviously, well, before we get to that, SMU and LSU. SMU 9-1, LSU 8-1. That's the complete compete for cause classic. And Alabama, 7-2 Alabama, going up against number 1 ranked Arizona. This is going to be the most fun game of Saturday. Arizona, Alabama. That's going to be a good time. I believe the game is at Bama. I think it's a C.M. Newton Classic. C.M. Newton was the coach at Alabama. All of a sudden, obviously, the AD at Kentucky. I do believe that game is, yes, that's at Bama. So that one's going to be fun because Arizona is number 1 in the country. We're talking about how good Michigan is. We're talking about how good Gonzaga is. Right now, the number 1 team in the country is Arizona. Arizona's good, and I've watched them. I think Michigan's better. Again, long way to go in the season. Arizona is an excellent squad, but right now, watching Michigan, I think Michigan is the best team in the country.
I'm just hoping and praying that if we know in March Madness that we get to see a Michigan-Arizona.
Oh, I want to see, Michigan-Arizona would be phenomenal. All right, Utah is hosting on Mississippi State. Mississippi State off to a slow start at 4-5. Utah 7-3. And we talked about that Arizona-Bama game. That will be 9:30 ESPN Saturday night. And, of course, like we said, Carolina hosting Citadel, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock tip here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia and our affiliate 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. That should be a W. Citadel starting off the season 3-7. They've been scuffling. This should be a game where South Carolina can get some stuff done. Get some feel-goods before that Clemson game next week. All right, there's your drive around the SEC, kind of taking a look at what's going on with men's basketball this weekend in the SEC. Pop back, give you a couple more cuts from today's press conference as Shane Beamer introduces Kendall Browse as the OC, Randy Clements, or like we now will call him Clem, the new offensive line coach, and new running backs coach Stan Drayton. We'll hear more from that presser next here on the postgame show as we wrap it up for the week on The Game. All right, in honor of Jay, we will do a couple of Jay versus the internet real fast. Really, tonight, men's basketball tonight, we talked about UConn hosting Texas. Texas is a 13.5-point underdog at UConn. I will take UConn and give Texas 13.5. I think UConn covers the number. One other game in men's basketball tonight, Xavier, 18.5-point favorite over Missouri State. Okay, I'll take Xavier. I'm going to take two big covers with home favorites. Last night was funny because we did the Thursday night football game. We took the over, which hit, but then we took Tampa and gave the points, and obviously that didn't work. Can I just take a minute on that really quick? If you're Tampa Bay, you blew a 2-score fourth quarter lead to a team that committed 19 bleeping penalties. Had a drop touchdown pass as well in the second half. The Bucs found a way to lose that game. Mind-numbing to me. The NFC South is terrible. Whew. I'm telling you. I was kidding with these guys off the air. The NFC South should be relegated to the Canadian Football League. Man, it's bad. But the good news, if you're a Panther fan, the Panthers might win the division. They play Tampa 2 times in the next 3 weeks. The Carolina Panthers might actually find a way to win that terrible division.
Please don't give me hope.
Oh, I'm not. Trust me.
For the love of God, please. Because the last time I had hope, we lost to the Saints when they were, I think, 1-7.
Yeah, it's a weird team, man.
But then they go and beat the Packers in Lambeau.
Packers in Green Bay.
Beat the Rams, and then I don't get it.
They lose to the Saints.
I don't get it.
It's awful. It's weird.
Inconsistency, but it's better than being the 2023 Panthers.
Well, what they were before the last couple years. Look, I root for Bryce Young. I like Bryce Young. I thought he was given a real raw deal when he first came in the league with that franchise. What's really interesting, the Panthers have gotten better, and, you've heard from the owner less. Maybe less meddling has led to a better team. I don't know. Call me crazy. Maybe that happened. All right, we're going to just kind of freestyle here, Kale, so hopefully this all works out. All right, let's hit a couple more cuts from Shane. From the press conference, not just Shane. I want to grab... I want to get Kendall Briles talking about bringing in Coach Clements with him. It should be cut 12, Kale. Briles and why he brought along his bud, the assistant offensive line coach, Coach Clem from TCU. Hit it. Cut 12. Oh, we don't have it? Okay. I don't know if it was there or not. That's okay. Clements, we have cut 9 from Clements on his familiarity with the offensive lineman. Cut 9. Okay, we're doing great here. We're on a roll. We're on a roll with this. You know what? Well, I think we have Clements' opening statement. Cut 4, right? Is that there? All right. Well, screw that then. We're not going to play any of them. Forget it. Tell me what you have over there. What cut number do you have over there? Okay. Why don't we get cut 7? Is everybody going to, let's see, are they going to stay to coach their bowl games, these coaches? Interesting answer. This was an interesting answer, cut 7.
Yes, I will. I've been through a lot with that program as well. We had a tough go, and we've been through a lot together with the release of our head coach mid-season. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with those guys. I just feel like I need to finish what I started. They believed in me, and I believe in them, and I promised them that, I was going to go all the way to the end with those guys. So I am going to complete my time with that. Let's go beat Clemson. Let's go beat Clemson. That's exactly right.
I've had communications with Coach Dykes and the guys there, and we're going to like to not continue on with the season with them and get focused on this job and what we need to do to get ready to go here and prepare and be ready when the kids come back in January.
It is interesting. Stan Drayton. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Is that it? Yeah, that was it. Stan Drayton is going to stay at Penn State to finish up with the bowl game, the Pinstripe Bowl against Clemson.
I'm sure Carolina fans have no issue with him wanting to beat Clemson.
No.
I'm sure they have no issue with that.
But it's very interesting how Drayton said that, and then you get Coach Briles saying, after communication, basically with Coach Dykes and everything, we're just going to stay here and move forward. And Coach Clements said the same thing, the new offensive line coach. Just a different vibe from both situations. And again, it goes back to just the thought of with Kendall Briles. 3 years at TCU, 3 years of being the guy from the rival school coaching at TCU. And there was some of the stuff brought up about, what went on with his dad at Baylor, which, again, we all can agree was unacceptable, what happened there off the field. The combination of that, the TCU offense, probably the last couple of years, because they haven't run the ball as efficiently as probably Kendall Briles would want, and part of that is Briles' offense seems to have a better run game with a dual-threat quarterback, feels like it. But anyway, just a combination of things. It just feels like, Dykes said to Kendall, "No, man, just go ahead. You do you, bro. We're good." And again, Sonny Dykes is a guy who, guy builds offenses himself. And they've got some folks there on that staff that can step in and run the offense and things of that nature. So Kendall Briles and Coach Clem both moving on. I got tickets to give away before we get out of here, so get ready, Kale. We got tickets. All right, really quick. It's for the Citadel game. 2 pair of tickets for the men versus Citadel. 803-404-6100. Again, the ticket guru, Josh, had texted me. We got 2 pair of tickets for tomorrow night, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock tip. The men versus Citadel. First 2 callers will get a pair of tickets. So we have 2 pair to give away, a pair to the first caller, a pair to the second caller, 803-404-6100. Give us a ring now. Kale will get your info, name, email, phone number, and we'll get you. So I just remembered. It hit me. I had forgotten. Sorry, Josh. We got it, though. Better late than never, pal. Hey, thanks a lot for hanging out with us. We appreciate you like we do every day, and hanging with us and being patient as we kind of maneuver our way through. And we'll be happy to get our buddy Jay back on here with us on Monday at 3 o'clock. It's a post-game show. Kale, good work. Thanks to Elijah, Jay, it's Terry Ford, and thanks to you for putting up with us again. We will talk to you on Monday here on the game.